So in this video, I'm going to give you a full tour and show you our Edgebander, show you why we bought this model, give you an in-depth tour all around the back, all the different parts on how it works, how much it costs, and just in comparison to other machines that we looked at and we've tried. Good morning, I hope you're all well. So we have a bespoke furniture workshop here. So an Edgebander in our company plays a big part in what we do. Now, I do speak to other joiners and other carpenters that don't use an Edgebander so much with the type of work they do, so it probably wouldn't benefit them having that in the workshop because you can outsource it and buy pre-edge boards in. But if, like us, you're using things daily where you are edgebanding, you're making cabinets and wardrobes, etc. daily, then this will play a big part in any business. Now, this machine itself that we opted for was the Genesis HSM 512S. Now, before this, we've tried and looked at the common ones that a lot of people go for, which is like the OVA 350M. And there's just a few more features that was on this one at the time, why I decided to spend that little bit extra and go for this one. Now, obviously, this is a kind of mediocre machine. It's not high-end, top of the range, but it is still, for our size of business, a great machine. So it operates at 12 meters per minute. That's the speed that it can operate at. Size-wise on this, it's 4 meters, 250 mil long. It's 1500 mil high, and it's 1040 in depth. Now with this, it's used for edge banding any types of material, board materials. So the tapes, they come in different thicknesses and depths, and obviously different colors to match what you're doing. And you can set your tapes to suit the board basically. And on this machine in particular, as we go down, I'll show you a full operation on how we edge band something now, but there's different settings along this where we can pull back the corner rounding, we can take the corner rounding off if we want. There's different parts on this, but also very important to set the machine correctly before you even turn it on. So down on the end of this machine, you've got the touchscreen panel. This is where you operate everything for the machines to turn on, the different parts, like the turning the glue on, the hot glue, turning on the solvents at the end if you want a solvent cleaner. And up on the top here, a very important part on this machine is your depth. So depending on what size material you've got going through, and it's always good to check, even if you think it's 18 mil, it might be 18.1 or 2, and it does make a difference. So up on here, you'll set the depth on your material from here before you do anything. And then you'll walk along the back, which I'll show you now, and you'll set all the different thicknesses for the tape that you're about to use, whether it's 1 mil or 2 mil tape. But this machine can do down to 0.4 mil thick, that is the tape. We typically just stock 1 and 2 mil. Now, if we're doing cabinets inside, we prefer a 1 mil tape, like I just showed you on that piece there. If we're doing like a door made from hydrofugo, we'll still edge band it so that it's got a hard finish and easier to spray paint and give you a nicer finish and a hard wearing edge. But if we're using them, we'll go for a 2 mil tape, so it's thicker and it gives us a little bit more of a round on the edge of it. So with the tapes, we only use like ABS, which is a nice strong edge banding. So with this machine in particular, it has the pre-mill on, which basically means it will plane the edge of the board as it goes through. So for instance, if you're using a 2 mil tape, when you put your material through, if you set that to 2 mil, it will basically plane off 2 mil so that the thickness of the tape is added back on and you've still got the same size board as what you first put in. And obviously pre-milling it off, it's giving a real nice crisp edge. So for instance, if you did cut something and it had your minor chips on there, as long as you change and update your blades in there regular, which we do, then you'll have a nice crisp finish as it comes out the other end because it's cutting off any chips as it goes along. This also has corner rounding on, so it has bottom and top rounding, but then it also has a feature for corner rounding, which is if you was doing like a door and you want a slight curve on the corner, this also gives that option too. So this is from the back of the machine, and this is what you'll need to operate every morning. You'll need to come in here. Now there is an air compressor that needs to be connected to this, and you do get with it, obviously for cleaning out, there's little bits of air left in there, but at the moment, because I'm recording, I've turned the compressor off because you'll just hear that filling up every minute. So I've turned that off at the moment. Also, you do need extraction connected to this, and you need that on whenever you're cutting because it'll get rid of the majority of the dust. But then throughout the day, you will have to keep opening this back up, especially if you're doing a lot of, say, 2mm where there's a lot of stuff coming off, and keep cleaning it out, because if any of the cutters become blocked, you won't get the best finish. So starting from down the bottom, chosen the tape now so that we know what thickness, what color. So now we're going to work our way along, put the tape in the machine and set the machine to its depths. So basically the tape, you'll put it in the right way round so that the back of the tape is always facing the machine itself. It'll come through the first hole, it'll wrap over, and then it'll feed through, which you have a lot of little settings here to get it through, depending on the height of the tape, that you'll adjust as you go along. Then once your tape is freely running through back and forth, you know that you are good to edge band using that tape. So you have different cutters. So down the bottom here, starting off, we have the pre-mill cutters, which, as I said before, that's basically planing off the surface of the material and getting rid of any chips and getting you back to the 2mm that you're going to be adding on for that tape. So that's where that'll start off there. Now the blades on the pre-mill cutters themselves, they are reversible, and you can flip them back to front. So from one blade on this, you will get 4 uses. As I say, we try and change them every couple of weeks because we do use this daily and we want nothing but like precise flat finishes. But from one set of blades, you will get 4 different uses if used properly. Then moving along, then you come onto your glue and your pressure zones. Now all these wheels that you can see down here, they are basically applying pressure from the tape onto the surface, and this is where we're going to be setting all the depths on these now to get that going. So the hot glue itself, you'll put that in. Every morning we do scrape out any of the black parts from the top, because we don't want that getting through into the system, because any bits in there, it will cause problems. So basically every morning we'll let it heat up, get up to the temperature that it needs to be, which we've got it set on 150 degrees at the moment. We'll scrape out the glue, get rid of that, and then we'll top it up to a certain point in there. And this is the glue pellets that we use ourselves, which is like a clear. You can do different ones, and believe it or not, you can't just put any glue into these machines, so you do need to find out what machine from the specifications you're using to match with the glue. For instance, the heat of this machine and how fast per minute it's going through. It does all play factors into what glue you're having. So we've got the correct glue for this machine now, because we're like a good few years in with this now. So coming down, you've got your first gauge here. So at the minute, I can see that we've got 2mm tape in there. So I'm going to be setting every dial here to 2mm basically as we go along. So just by turning these dials, they will go up to 2. Now because it's on a thread, this is just like a little tip that we do as we go along. If I was to go past 2, I never want to go back down to 2, if that makes sense. I'll always go back down to 1.9 and then back up to 2, just so that the tension on the thread is always up to where you want it to be, not giving you that tiny bit of slack if you're being really precise and cutting something precise. Top and bottom trimmers, again, set these. Now obviously what we have found with these, the top and bottom trimmers, if we're using a real luxury textured board, we turn them off completely basically. It's not very often, but we've just found with those, if there's a textured board, we get better results ourselves if we turn them off. And the way we do that is basically we'll pull these back. We've got little packers sat in the back here, and we'll just pack them off away from the material. So we won't even let them touch the material, and then we will manually then, once we've got it back, it's only a couple of mil, use a Stanley scraper basically, and we'll just scrape it along just on a right angle so that we get that perfection finish. Because like I say, sometimes if you've got like a real textured board, these scrapers, sometimes we've noticed, will take that edge off and it's just not perfection. It still looks good, but it's not perfection, which we opt for. Then you've got down the bottom buffers, solvents. So as the material comes through, it cleans it, it buffs it, and it gets the edge so it comes out perfection for you. So now that I've showed you around the back, I've turned the air compressor on. It's all filled up with air, so it might come back on while we're doing this to refill, so it might be a bit noisy in between this part. I am going to turn the extractor on in a minute and the machine on, so I can show you how it operates So I've set all the gauges around the back to 2mm tape. Now with this, for this purpose, I'm going to use a white edge banding, and I've got a scrap of oak just so I can show you the differences. So we do have here a board, and on this one in particular, there is like a rough edge on there just to show you. We also did buy this as a bit of an extra. Basically, we found this online. It stretches out. It's a roller wheel chart, so that basically you can stretch that out, and if you've got some long panels that we do, you can just roll it in as you go. So if you are going to get an Edgebander, I would recommend one of these, because that's been like game changing for us since we've got that. Because you imagine if that wasn't there, and even if you've got a couple of you there holding it, just makes life a bit hard using it. Whereas if you got that, it's just one man on their own, even with the big panel, slide it in, everything's all good. So I'm going to show you with this now. I'm going to turn all the machine on. I'm going to turn the Edgebander on. So we're going to, first of all, system, I'm going to turn the pre-routing on, then I'm going to turn the glue on, then I want the preheating, which basically will heat the edge of the board so that it adheres better. And then I'm also going to turn the solvent on. So I've got everything turned on now. Now as we go along, the sensors that are going to hit the board and drop off the board, which tells us, or tells the machine, how much to cut. So always keep it back to the fence. Turn the extractor off so you can hear me now, and the machine off. So I've done the edge on this now. As you can see, I've put a white tape on to show you the contrast against the oak board. But as you'll see there, to give us a nice clean edge, it's put the corner round, or the top round, sorry, and the bottom round on the board for us, which we've set. Now I'm going to turn the Edgebander and the extractor back on. I'm going to do the top edge so I can show you the corner rounding feature as that goes. So yeah, that's the top and bottom, and as you'll see, it's gave us that curve on the corner there, which just gives you that nice corner rounding profile. So obviously with this machine now, as it goes along, there's sensors all the way along this before it hits each part of the machine. So for instance, as it goes in now for the pre-mill, there's a sensor there, so as it flicks up, it's telling the machine how much it's coming through and how much tape you're going to need to cut off and where the guillotine strikes. That's the machine in a basic overall. I hope this video has helped if you're looking to get an Edgebander, or you're curious to see if an Edgebander would help you. So the cost on this machine, from what I remember right, it's around about 20k for this one. Brilliant machine. We bought this, it was from JC O'Meara. Carl down there we spoke to, and we got this sorted. So yeah, it's a great machine. It's been great for our business because we are fitted furniture, cabinet making every day. So I do hope this video has helped. If you want to see any of our work, do head over to Instagram at TopBuild Carpentry, and do subscribe and follow us, because we've got a lot of more interesting content coming up. We've got a lot of machines over the back, CNCs, panel saws, which I will be doing videos on in the future. We also do like a behind the scenes footage running the business, where we're showing the jobs and how we're making stuff. So hopefully see you soon.